Incredible offer, said the president. He's received a fair amount of criticism from all sides, really, including from his own party since those comments earlier today, where he seemed to either side with the Russian president or at least not directly answer the question, comparing the Russians to his own intelligence officers. We're joined now by a former intelligence officer, former CIA station chief in Russia, Scott Uehlinger, who's here with us in the studio. I know you spent like a decade, right, in the old Soviet Union?
Right. Actually, I was chief of station in Moldova, a much smaller country than Russia.
Oh, fair enough.
But I did speak in Russian often and dealt with Russian officials.
Dealt with the Russians and or Soviets at the time. Okay. Let's talk about today a little bit, because since those comments, as Blake Berman reported a moment ago, the president, presumably on Air Force One, has taken to Twitter. And to me, he's trying to clean things up a little bit, saying I have great confidence in my intelligence people, almost conceding that maybe he didn't handle things very well today.
I believe that that's true. I think that some of the progress that was made in the talks, because the goal of our first meeting is always to have a second meeting, as we say in the CIA. I think we have to start somewhere.
Which they say they will.
Right. I think it's been somewhat overshadowed by some of his maybe poorly chosen words at times.
He seemed to almost throw his own people under the bus, to be fair, especially Dan Coates, as Director of National Intelligence.
Right, that's right. It undercut him a little bit, exactly. So that's unfortunate. However, we do need to keep perspective on this and understand that under President Trump, our stance against Russia in general on all fronts is considerably stronger than under the previous administration. So I would like to look at the actual deeds behind our foreign policy.
Actions speak louder than words argument, which I've heard from a lot of people today. I would counter and ask you the question, don't the words matter to some degree? If you're somebody working in the field on this, doesn't the tone that's set from the top by the leader, in this case the president, matter?
It's certainly true. And it is. And Putin, I think, or I should say, the president understands that to deal with Russians, you have to sort of build them up. You know, they have a kind of an inferiority complex. You have to build them up. But in this case, perhaps he overcompensated.
A little too much, right?
A little bit too much. You need to, because certainly a very negative approach to relations with Russia, calling it a middle-level power or something, as Obama did, is a recipe for disaster. Now, you're not assured of having success by dealing with Russians by flattering them somewhat. However, without doing that, you're sure to have failure.
Now, the earlier point that we were talking about, a lot of maybe what you're saying does get overshadowed, but you're one of the first people I've heard come in to say today that there was progress made, because everybody is so focused on the question and answer period between the two leaders. What does it overshadow? What progress do you think was made?
I think it overshadows things like, well, energy. I think it's very clear from some of the body language and Putin's kind of uncomfortable statements that President Trump's attitude toward energy and basically undercutting Russian energy exports, which will damage Russia on the world stage, he's basically saying, may the best man win. And it's clear that Putin is a little uncomfortable with that. So I think that's promising. Also, there was some talk about the Intermediate Nuclear Forces Agreement. Russia is in violation possibly of some of those. However, we may work toward some further arms reduction, provided we have the proper inspections and that sort of thing.
As a final point, just to kind of utilize your own expertise, if you were still in the intelligence community now, what would happen next, or what do you think will happen next? Has the president soured the relationship? And what do the agents on the ground begin working on now after this summit?
Well, I think, CIA operations officers are out there all the time, meeting at midnight, running around, pursuing leads, and it really is basically extra political. It really has nothing to do very much with the political world. As we see, espionage wars continue no matter how good or bad the relations are. The Russian interference in this election, although regrettable, is something that they've done consistently over decades.
And probably are still doing.
Exactly. And so the rank and file officers, although, like I said, it's somewhat unfortunate, they continue their work against these targets regardless of press conferences and the like.
All right, Scott, we appreciate your experience, certainly your expertise in this. Thanks for coming in the studio.
Thank you.